Right.
Okay? If you're in the house or whatever, how did he say it? Oh yeah, your same protection will be the ones that's going to inflict injury because of debris and the rocks and stuff is going to come and smash that down, so you're going to be destroyed by that anyway. And if you happen to survive outside of it, the radiation is a slow death. You can die in a whole week. It's a slow painful radiation. That's why they got these, what they call it, chemotherapy. What they're doing is they're using concentrated radiation on a certain part of your body, aka the cancer. But they got to be careful because they can burn you. They can burn your insides. You can actually burn your inside, like you can actually get permanent burn damage, like on your tissues.
You actually get cancer from the chemotherapy. Literally.
Because they're using that radiation. That shows you how powerful that is. Really, you shouldn't be messing with that stuff.
But they got guns like that in the military. Microwave guns. Set you on fire.
Stuff like that. Hurt you. So this war is good. Ain't no survivors, man. If there was no divine intervention, right? Because it's gonna be a domino effect. If one missile was shot, they know the impact that it's gonna take. They're not finna just suffer no losses. They finna say, use ours. It's gonna use you, cause you to use more, gonna cause them to use more. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
That's right.
Right? If a missile was to hit St. Louis right now, this city is no longer inhabitable. Okay? It'd have to be quarantined for years before the rest. But we're not gonna get to that point. But that's how damaging that one nuclear missile can be. So now you're looking at the weapon that every single country in the world, for the most part, has the ability of doing. It has the ability of shooting off. And you as a pedestrian or as a citizen of a country, you should be concerned about what it is that your powers is getting involved in, because you're going to get dragged into war, whether like a lot of you stupid American people, you don't understand you've been dragged into war. You about to be, what's the saying? You got casualties.
Casualty of war? Oh, collateral damage.
Collateral damage. You're going to be collateral damage. You don't even know. You know?
It says, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. The sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay the third part of man.
See, you see that? You got angels set up to be bound. Hey, I can get Revelation 7 and 1 real quick. So you got angels, the Most High has angels, right, set up with power for what, a day, a time, and an hour to release whatever it is that they have, that they were given. And they said, what? The river Euphrates. That's why the Middle East is so important. Everything's all about the Middle East. Even that woman, Kim Iverson, when she was breaking down the whole attack, she even said, just know Israel is involved in all of this, okay, because of the land and their position there. And the agreement that the U.S. has with Israel. So they're always going to be involved in it. So you see, the Middle East plays a very important part in this history and its prophecy as well. You got that?
Yeah. This is Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
Yes, you see, that's that power that those angels were given. Those four winds represent destruction. So the Most High has them right now on hold for the most part, until the time comes where they're supposed to release the power that they have. Because it goes on.
Verse 3, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
That's it.
And it goes to list the tribes.
But what did he say? He said, hurt not the earth or the sea until I have sealed. So that shows you that the power that those angels have is going to bring hurt. Not joy and happiness, destruction. Right? So those 4 angels with that power, Most High's angels set up with power on hold, okay? To release the destruction.
Back to Revelation 9 and let's see, what was that? 16. The number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. Verse 15. The 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the third part of man.
And the third part of man represents Esau. From the beginning of Genesis, you had three types of people. You had the sons of men, the sons of Yahweh, or sons of God, and sons of the wicked. Right? And that wicked starts with Cain and his descendants, which ultimately spiritually goes down to Esau and his descendants. So these angels were loosed, and they were set up for a day, time, and an hour to release this power that they have upon the earth. All right, Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of that fall. The reason missiles got to fly is because of Esau. So who you think is going to get hit with those missiles for the most part? Esau, Edom, America, Babylon the Great. John the Revelator saw the lake of fire, and it's actually America burned up with fire by nuclear missiles. All right, nuclear missiles is prophesied for thousands of years ago that it was going to happen in this time, and voila, you got a damn nuclear missile with a warhead that's capable of destroying the whole damn city. Casualties out the roof. That land is inhabitable. Man. That's just for one warhead. And then they got missiles with multiple warheads in it. So you know the Most High is angry. Right?
Verse 16. The number of the army of the horsemen was 200,000.
200,000 of horsemen. 200,000, another 3 zeros, 200 million.
And I heard the number of them. Thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone.
So what you gotta understand is John wrote down what he saw. There was no such thing as a missile back then. He didn't say I saw a nuclear missile being shot. He compared it to what his language that he knows, which is what a horse. And horse is used as a term to represent power. They still use it today. You know, horse represents power, right? So he said, well, I saw an army of the horsemen, meaning he saw the army of these flying, vicious, which he's going to explain, serpent-like power, which is talking about the nuclear missiles.
Verse 16, the number of the army of the horsemen was 200,000, and I heard the number of them. Thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and jacinth and brimstone.
Come on, man. What else is it talking about? That breastplate of fire represents that warhead. Understand? Because everything that's involved with a missile is what? Fire. That's all it is. So how can you honestly look at that and say, well, it's not talking about missiles? What the hell else is it talking about? What else is capable, okay, of reaching one part of the earth to the other to bring destruction with fire? What else is going to do that? You mean tell me one day it's going to be one day where the clouds going to turn red and drop some fire or something like that? No, it's talking about the missiles.
Right. It says, by these 3 was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths.
And we talked about that smoke, right? That smoke. If you watch those simulations, all the teachers that tell you about nuclear missiles, they all tell you this. If it was to be a point of a nuclear war, eventually, like I said, nobody wins. Everybody dies. Because that radiation and that smoke will cloud the skies for so long that eventually the food you got, that's all you got. Sunlight wouldn't get through your crops, so you wouldn't have any food. Your food supply stops right then and there. Because the source of all energy, for people don't realize, the source of all energy is the sun. Right? You can't say we don't need the sun. Then we all die. If the smoke was to block out the sun rays from getting to the crops don't grow. That means your herbivores don't eat, your cows and your sheep and all that stuff. They don't eat, meaning you ain't got no meat, okay? That means the bees don't work. And bees are responsible for pollinating your crops, which causes them to grow healthy. So now you ain't got no food. Period. Because everything comes from the sun. So if the fire don't get you, if you don't die upon the impact, but you're outside the radius, you're still gonna burst into flames. If you happen to be outside of that, you're gonna die of radiation. Right? Hell, it sounds like you're better off dying when the damn impact happens. Because that radiation is a bitch. But again, I'm telling you, man, it's so hot that if you outside of the black, everything flammable is gonna burst into flames. That includes your skin. Can you imagine your skin just being turned into flames? That's horrible.
Way worse than drowning.
Just like in that movie, Terminator 2. On the little fence, she just literally burst into flames. It's like her damn body was made up of this flammable gas.
I gotta put something.
Wow.
Dumb down.
Yeah, right. No,
Here we go.
same motherfuckers you see who got ejected on Highway 7. Verse 18. By these three was the third part of being killed.
They live their best life.
Was the third part of being killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouth. Their power. That's how you know it's when you get hot, man. All the noise. Their power is in their mouth and their tails. Their tails were like unto serpents, had heads, and with them they do hurt.
See, it said there.
For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents who had heads, and with them they do hurt.
It said their tails was like unto serpents. That's what he saw. Like serpents. You know what I'm saying? Just flying. Like I always mentioned, from if you want to take a flight from New York to Russia, that's a 10 to 11 hour flight. But if a missile was to be shot, a missile can reach from Russia to the U.S. in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Okay?
That's great.
To catch a flight to Russia, it's 10 hours, 11 hours.
That's like, I did the math not too long ago. I think there's like 15,000 miles per hour.
Because planes fly fast as hell. They fast as hell. You may not see it because they look slow, but they fast as hell. So if that takes 10 hours, but a missile, half an hour, you know how fast some things are going? And you know anything about physics, impact is mass, I believe mass times velocity. Velocity is just speed in any direction. Something going that fast is going to have a huge impact. And that's if it detonates, because it can detonate for max destruction, it can detonate in the sky. Like before it hits, max, you know what I'm saying? But if it actually hits, it's going to go like way in the earth before that motherfucker decides to just blow up. It says what? And with them, they do hurt. So even if you don't believe in what we're teaching, like Hebrew Israelites, if you believe in the book of Revelation, that fire that John Revelator saw, what else can that be? What else can that be? What other creation on the planet Earth right now that's able to bring and is capable of bringing that same fire that a nuclear missile is capable of? So even if you don't believe in the Hebrew Israelites, there's one thing you can't deny. The weapon and the horsemen that John the Revelator saw were indeed nuclear missiles. There's nothing else stronger or powerful than that. Because if that was, that would be the weapon that would be used amongst these countries. They ain't like, oh, there's something better than nuclear missiles. We're just not using them. No, that's it right there. And then, another thing you got to realize, those missiles aren't created just to sit in some damn museum. They meant to be used, right? And they're ready at the push of a button. Send them off. And like I said, it's gonna be a domino effect. You understand? Once you send one, this country gonna send up, send mine. This country go up, send another one.
They show you that on that movie X-Men Apocalypse. People's eyes was going white and they were just pressing the buttons. Just symbolic for the Lord to put the spirit on these nations to press that button.
So you can't deny, man, that the nuclear missiles is not prophesied. It's prophesied. Hell, we hear it. Okay? Pass on.
Yeah, that's what you told me. Get early. Isaiah 34, and I just started one. It says, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood." And that's the point.
Well, not everybody, but if you study the Bible, you should know Isaiah 34 is judgment upon all nations, primarily Esau, Edom. You hear
Right.
that? David Goosewick? That's the guy that said that Esau, he doesn't believe that Esau will be in rulership at the end of days, because he knows he's an Edomite. He knows. He mentions Isaiah 34, he mentions Isaiah 63, and he says, like, yeah, you know, Esau is getting his judgment, but I don't believe he'll be in power at the end of days. That's completely opposite of what the scripture says. You just know because you know there's no other person that fits outside of your people.
That's the Edomite that said I disagree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I
That
see.
guy. And he studied the Bible. You go to Blue Letter, you go to the commentaries, all his commentaries right there. But he says, oh, I disagree that Edom will be in charge at the end of days. Because you know that'll be you. You know it. So you gotta say you disagree. But the scripture says Esau is the end of the world. And why is his judgment on Esau so heavy when it has happened?